Welcome students to another video of 3ds Max lighting. In the previous video, I have just introduced the basic or the fundamental properties of light, or how to create the standard lights and photometric lights. But now we will see some important aspects of lighting. Again we will go through all the parameters and then we will see how to apply them one by one. Let us start with the photometric lights this time. Now in photometric lights, basically the lighting calculation or the intensity of the light is measured in technical terms like lumen, candela, lux, and even the color of the light is given using Kelvin. So let's create a plane. Then have a teapot onto it. Go to the lights, go to photometric lights and click on target light. Now as soon as you click on photometric lights, it will pop up a message that you are creating a photometric light. It is recommended that you use logarithmic exposure control. In the last lecture I have just mentioned about the exposure control, but in this lecture we will see it in little more detail. Now first of all, let's close this window and click on rendering and then go to render setup. The shortcut for that is F10. Now in lighting we primarily have two types of lights. One is direct light and the other is indirect light. If we want to have a realistic render, or usually it is called as photorealistic render, mainly we need to focus on indirect light, or the light that has been reflected from the surrounding. That is called as global illumination as well. Now to do those calculations, you click on render setup, then go to renderer, and the default renderer is always a scanline render. Click on that and you will find some other renderers as well. In the latest version you will also find Arnold, V-Ray is also there. In this particular case we have Mental Ray. These are called as rendering engines. Basically rendering engines have their own materials, own lighting system and own indirect lighting calculation algorithms. Let us select NVIDIA Mental Ray. Now as soon as you select Mental Ray as your primary render, you will get some changes in the render settings window. Here you will see an option of global illumination, or it is also called as GI. Global illumination is basically calculation of indirect light. Now again there are two types of indirect lights. One which is being reflected from the surrounding objects, and the other which is being spread through atmosphere. Like for example, in case of dawn, in the morning before sunrise we are able to see all the objects because the sunlight comes first before the sun arises. Now when the source itself is absent, how we are able to see the light? Because that light is being spread through atmosphere. That is also a kind of indirect light. Click on global illumination and click on skylight illumination from indirect. Here you have two options. One is GI or FG. FG is final gather, and this term IBL is basically called as image based lighting, where we put an image in the background and the image itself acts as a light source. That we will see in some next lectures. But first of all, keep this on skylight illumination from indirect. Then go to photometric light and click on target light. This time again it will pop a message, but it will say it is recommended that you use Mental Ray photographic exposure control. Would you like to change this? Now click on yes. Now again click on Or first of all, we will create a light and they will see the exposure control options. Go to the front view, click and drag for target light. Now photometric light is a point light by default. Go to modify options and you will find the basic parameters like intensity of the light, color of the light, shadow, make shadow on, and select ray trace shadow, that will create a sharp shadow or a more realistic shadow. Then by default under light distribution you will find uniform spherical distribution, that this is a point light. You can change it to spotlight and this will become a spotlight. Now let's go to intensity. As we have seen in the previous lecture also, we have some presets like if you want this light to be fluorescent light or fluorescent daylight, halogen, metal halide, quartz, mercury, xenon, or incandescent filament lamp, whatever you want, you can select that. Say for example, if you select mercury, and the light will be according to the mercury lamp. For a single frame render, press Shift Q. Well, now for this particular region, we had applied a material and made it two-sided. Now again in this case as well, press M for material editor. And now as we have switched on the mental ray renderer, we also will get the additional materials of mental ray. Now let us see how to apply those. For that, again select the object, select the material slot, click on assign material to selection, then click on standard. Now once you click on standard, after selecting mental ray as your primary render, you will get another pop-up window, and into that you will see Autodesk materials, or here you will have an option of physical material. Select physical material and the same material will be inside this slot. Click on this drop down and here you will find some presets for the materials. For example, if you keep it on copper, then a ready-made copper material will get selected. Let's change the angle a little bit and have a single frame render. Now the environment is missing. It is doing the indirect lighting calculations, but still the environment is missing. To put that, press escape to cancel the render. Go to rendering exposure control. And under exposure control, you will see that option of mental ray photographic exposure control over here. And the background is black, that is over here, environment map of the color. You can simply change the color, set it to sky blue and have a sample render, and the same will be reflected on the object. Or you can put a map for the environment. Once you select photographic exposure, you will get it options over here. Now there are presets for exposure control as well, indoor, outdoor, daytime and nighttime. So if you set it to outdoor daylight clear sky, then the exposure value will increase. In turn, the scene will be little darker. If you reduce the exposure value, the scene will be more brighter. It's opposite of what you select.